What is going on, everybody? We are back with another episode of the Delicate Plan podcast. I'm your channel host, Primitive, and I got with me Dante. What's going on, bro?
Oh man, everything is all good. How you doing, Prim?
I am doing good. We did a podcast a little bit before I did on my traveling spree, so it's been a little more recent. You know what I'm saying? Um, there's not a crazy amount of things to talk about though, but we do got a couple good topics to talk about today. To going into BT10 at least.
Yeah. I'm not too excited about BT10, honestly.
Oh, I know. And before we get into that though, one announcement that we are going to be a little bit late on covering, but we still want to talk about it because of some of the, I don't know if you want to call it drama, maybe controversy surrounding it, but the Nationals was announced, right? It's going to be in California, February 24th through the 26th. But BT11 is going to release a week before that. So, um, there's the implications of, is there potentially going to be BT11 1 week format legal at Nationals, or are they not going to allow it, or are we just going to expect it and then maybe there's going to be delays on the BT11? Because if there's a week or longer delays on BT11, then it won't even come out for Nationals. So that's one of those things where I kind of wish we knew what to expect going into it now, but I feel like there's no way they're going to announce that for at least a couple more months.
Yeah, because Nationals is what, the last week of February, correct? Like you said.
Yeah, 24th.
Okay, so and then from what we just found out, BT11 is supposed to release around the 17th, so it's about a week before Nationals are here. I'm gonna just be real and say if they were very crafty, businessmen and women over there in Japan, I would think they would push up the release of BT11. So try to get BT11 out, a week or two earlier when it comes to shipping wise. That way they can guarantee that it hits shores the 10th and no later than the 17th, get to the stores. I mean, because BT11 is a powerhouse of a set compared to BT10. BT10 is
Yeah.
pretty. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I think BT11 supports a lot of BT10. I feel like we'll talk about in a little bit. Some of the BT10 decks I feel like are semi incomplete without BT11, but I mean, there's it's going to be interesting with the format because there's going to be people who are going to want to prep ahead for the format, right? And proxy BT11 or whatever and prep for it, but it's also going to be like, do you want to spend that much time on it if it ends up last minute being delayed and we play EX3? But I think if they can push out BT11 sooner, they should, just because I feel like we're getting BT10 soon. EX3 doesn't come out too much later. So EX3 does give us some really cool stuff, and I'm really excited for EX3, but it's a side set, so it's kind of still just like BT 10.5, and we'll we'll see how long people will like really want that format. But I think just for holiday reasons, I feel like you want to release cards around the holidays.
yeah, that's actually the best business move, economic wise. You always want to make sure that the fourth quarter, which is the last 3 months of the year, is always the most profitable.
Yeah.
So they'll push out, BT10. I wouldn't even be surprised if EX3 comes out in, the middle of December. I
Right.
would not be surprised if they actually push that up a week or two and say, hey, instead of the end of December, middle of December, Christmas, holidays, buy a box for your friends, families, buy a box for yourself, all that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't even doubt if they actually are preparing for that.
So what is the release date for EX3? November
Uh,
11th, right?
I thought it was the I thought it was the end of no, I thought it was the beginning of December, if I'm not mistaken.
It says
Uh,
right. Okay. So on the English Digimon card site, because I'm pretty sure it's the 11th, but I wanted to make sure before. It's saying it's not
yeah,
giving me the NA release date here, but there is a secondary website that is telling me November 11th.
yeah,
And
November
on the
11th.
wiki, it's also saying November 11th.
Okay, so EXO3 would definitely be out beforehand.
So it comes out November 11th, right? And then BT11 comes out mid February. So there's December, January. I mean, they're like, I think optimally they should push BT11 up a little bit, like a week or
They
two.
should do it because remember I think they changed how pre-releases work now. You don't get to buy products early for pre-release or anything like that. So I think they should probably push this up a couple of weeks, make it hit the 1st of February, and that way it gives people, 2, 3.5 weeks to prepare for nationals with the new format. Because I feel like we probably should have a ban list after nationals is said and done. We should know what is the definitive best decks after this ban list gets implemented with the Greymon getting limited and all that kind of stuff. Like we will see what decks are still thriving, what's the new best decks, and that might shape up the format going forward to have a potential ban list maybe March pushing April.
Well, a good question is when is Doro Greymon even going to get hit for
Right.
English?
Cause we don't have an official announcement date. I haven't seen one.
Yeah, I haven't. I haven't either. Unless something popped up that I don't know. We don't know how long we have them for. So I mean, what if? I thought we would get it pretty quick, but I didn't see anything going into BT10 that it would get hit. So I don't. Maybe EX3 or something like that. Maybe we'll get an announcement, or maybe they'll just kind of drop it overnight. Just kind of just ruin some alpha players' mornings when they wake up.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're gonna probably just sit there and wait until the day of BT10 and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, dual Greymon been limited." Just so y'all know.
That would be crazy. I would believe it though. The whole thing gives me Hearthstone vibes. So when I was competing in Hearthstone, bro, I swear it was like 3 or 4 Masters tours in a row I was traveling to where it would be like a week before the tournament and they would just throw something crazy at us. So they'd be like, "We're gonna release this new set like a week before the Masters tour," or like, "Boom, a bunch of old cards are now legal like a week before," and it's just like, you know
What?
what? I had to start adapting to the 1 week format, but it's nicer with Digimon because you can proxy.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that I
I
like that
mean,
about that.
you can get some testing, but I don't know. I think for like nationals purposes, sure, the super grinders are obviously, and like not even just the super grinders. There's gonna be a large category of people who will probably proxy BT11 leading up into nationals if it does release a week before. But I think for like the casual person, they releasing a set a week before the like for 99.999% of people's biggest tournament of the year
Hmm.
isn't like the competitively best play. Like that's one thing that made me start to really resent Hearthstone was these 1 week tournaments where it was like I don't know. I just didn't like like prepping for a week and then flying across the country just to play like a format where like one dude kind of found just the secret sauce and it was just enough to win.
Ugh, I can't do that because I'll be very upset. I'll be pretty upset that yeah, like new format. It's only been a week, so wow, this guy's really put some time into it, and you know he found that secret sauce, and everybody's getting wrecked by it, and there's no counterplay right now, and I go against you. I'm like, what in the world, man? I'll be upset. I'm not gonna lie, I would be.
Oh, it happens. I feel like it happens all the time. I mean, I played in multiple card games where it's just like you just there's just like this secret deck that it could just not even be like the best deck of the format. It can just be exploiting some super new good card that when you introduce it to the meta, people would like tech for it, but
Yeah,
you didn't get, what I'm saying? It's like maybe in like Digimon's case, it's like early meta taking advantage of like memory blockers, you know what I'm saying? And maybe people weren't used to it yet. So you're playing against Lilith players who only play like one Deathclaw and you're hitting them with double Madoki and they can't do anything about it, you know what I'm saying? But when it's introduced to the meta, people tech for it more because it's more common. But when you have these like super short term metas, people can just figure out the sauce. It's a little bit different, I feel like, for Digimon, just because this is one of the first card games where the English like exactly follows the Japanese release as far as like what cards are released. So you can proxy for it and kind of test for it, but there's only going to be a small amount of people who are actually going to do that compared to like casual players going into nationals. So EX3 is going to be a really long format, I feel like, and so part of me would want BT11 to be the Nats format just so it's newer, but I feel like they would have to move it back like a couple weeks to give it more time, or else I feel like just EX3 would be better just because it's going to be an established format, I guess.
yeah. You know what? Unpopular opinion. I feel like, and this is far fetched because I don't have any kind of evidence for this. So this is a wild, wild guess. What if they did not give us an effective date for dual Greymon in the TCG because they didn't feel like Alphamon was as overpowered in the OC as in TCG as it was in the OCG?
Um, at this point, I feel like it doesn't matter. Like so I say that we follow JP in like the TCG, which we do as far as like cards and
Yeah,
stuff. Maybe the times that we get cards, like we'll get starter decks at different points in the format, and like we don't have the like security rookie things or what, you know what I'm saying. There's
yeah,
slight differences, but for the most part, BT10 for what they got, BT10 what we get is the same thing. Outside of like the Noir seal change, but it's same cards, and so there's that. But they're playing a completely different game. You know what I'm saying? Like going into Worlds is very interesting because what format do we play when they're like 2 to 3 formats ahead of us going into Worlds with Japan, right? And it's kind of like the Yu-Gi-Oh thing where I mean Yu-Gi-Oh does it really weird too, where they kind of combine the TCG and the OCG ban lists together,
yeah.
or like
They go
whatever
by
they do, and
they go by the least copy numbers that you can have. So the
yeah,
band over here and one over here is completely banned.
yeah, and so it's it's interesting like that, but like in the OCG and the TCG, like they're different, completely different games. Like they have Max C, you know what I'm saying? It's completely
Yeah,
different, and I feel like the JP to NA and Digimon, we have the same ban list and stuff, but it still just feels like we're just playing different formats, so it's already different. They played formats that we never got because of MDF getting hit and Ice Wall getting hit and all this stuff, and reinforcing being hit, like all these different formats. We had the emergency hit for Jet Sylphie and Tommy, so there's we just play different formats. So I feel like it doesn't even matter that much. Like if they get a different band list that we don't, then fine. Because honestly, yeah, like Alphamon is a really good deck and is a really good card, but like you definitely didn't have to hit it. There's definitely other cards that I would hit. So if that's just a JP thing and in exchange we're gonna get NA only stuff, then fantastic.
I, hey, honestly, I agree. But I mean, and it comes down to the structure of how we play. They're best of ones. So Alphamon dominating over there because again, it's a high roll deck, just like Live Loop, just like
Yeah, you
Grand
just get that perfect
Commander.
stack, you go.
Correct, and like it's highly searchable. Like I think 3/4 of the deck searches each other. So it is a very, very consistent deck. It's more consistent than Imperial Dramon. So it's one of those things to where if you high roll, you win. Over here, you can high roll one game, but you have to do it twice in a row
Yeah.
or 2 out of 3 times, which the chances of that happening is not likely in a lot of times.
It's not even just high roll, it's just medium roll. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like with Alpha, Alpha's a really good deck, but you can see a lot of Alpha representation in a tournament and only a little bit in cut. And even if they do win, but it's just like you can just miss the pieces in that deck for 1 or 2 turns and then you fall too far behind in metas where the decks are really quick and then you're done. You know what I'm saying? So Alpha is good. Um, but in best of three, like you have higher chances to high roll and you have higher chances to low roll, so you just kind of have to see how it goes. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it. You need to hit it. I think sure if we're gonna hit Alphamon or like the X antibody stuff, that's kind of the card to hit. It's either that or Dorumon really, but I think Dorogray is the more impactful one throughout every archetype. So that way you just don't just splash Dorogray into everything. But I
Yeah.
don't think you have to hit it.
Now, I agree. I don't think you have to hit it if we really going to separate ban list. I mean, I think it's fine. I get why people are calling for it. I mean, I even said, yeah, I don't know if we should, but if people are calling for it, I obviously 100% get why. But yeah, if this is the format that we're in, you know, come BT10, I'm perfectly fine. Like I think it's oh I think it's a actually a good format. Like a lot of people don't like these build a stack type of formats, but I'm like, but every deck has a it may be build a stack, but that's what Digimon is for one. And
Yeah.
then for two, every deck has its different gimmicks. You got, Metal Gurumon does multiple attacks. You got Alphamon that pretty much one shot you all the way through. Unsuspended one shot. Oh, I'm gonna play my level 7 game memory. Oh, it's still my turn. And then you have War Greymon. It says, oh, I don't care about any of your options and security. So I'm gonna breeze right through it. So everybody has their own little mechanic. Granite's Kawagamon's like, oh, I'm gonna pierce through, whatever blocker that you may have, and I'm gonna still check security.
Yeah.
So yeah, like they all have different things going for them. Just because you build to a level 6 and they all just build to level 6, that's just how Digimon goes. It builds. It's
Yeah,
a
you
builder.
Digivolve, you got to get to level 6 eventually.
Right, 6 and 7s are your go-to. Those your goals in your deck. Like I think a lot of people who don't like that like the days of Rookie Rush,
Right.
to where you can drop down Digimon. Like I'm be honest with you, this is not Yu-Gi-Oh. Do you want to play that type of game? Yu-Gi-Oh is probably the game for you. Digimon, yeah, you get rewarded a lot more if you build up the stack properly, and that's the gimmick of the game. That's what makes it unique.
Right. Yeah, so I mean I agree. That's just Digimon. You got to like you build a stack. There's obviously like ways around it. Armor Rush, you don't really build as big of a stack. You can go into Magna and Chimera, do all these things, or like Security Control, Rookie Rush, those type of things. But for the most part, most decks build up. You're going to see a lot of decks that are based around you building up. So I don't really understand the hate for big stack metas either. I mean, I think more so people just hate the OTK aspect more so of it, but I think that's preventable to a degree. I mean, the meta kind of rewards it right now, but I think it's an exploitable experience. That's why security control really kind of popped up, was because it was exploitable. So I don't know. I mean, I just if you're hating on the big stacks, I just that's what the game is.
I totally agree with that. I mean, even if you look at Imperiumon, that's a bit stat type of deck as well. Just because you Jorgus and then Digivolve, you're still building the stack. It's just a
Right.
whole different avenue of how you get to it.
It's just a different
So
way of getting to a level 5.
that's literally, and then your level 6 has more cards underneath it, so it's a bigger stack. So yeah, I think a lot of people, I think right now, a lot of people don't really have anything to really complain about. So they complain about, you know, how the meta is right now. It's
Right.
not like one or two cars that everybody's harping on. It's like we should ban this, we should ban that. It's like people just like let me just find something that I don't like and just express it. Which you're entitled to your own opinion. I'm 100% okay with that. 1,000% okay.
Well,
But yeah,
Here's the thing about that though, right? So you can complain about a card, and that's great. And but the thing is like I talk to a lot of players, right, ranging from higher level to lower level, and the people who complain about cards, the thing about it is that when that card gets removed, that card that's being complained about gets replaced with another card. Like
yep.
if there's gonna be, Tommy was the problem before. Okay, let's say Tommy. Okay, so now Tommy gets hit. Okay, you hit Tommy. Now, next card is the next annoying card. Now it's Dora Gray. Okay, now Dora Gray gets hit. Now it's gonna be
Sunrise
Shotmon
Blaster.
X4, Sunrise Blaster. Okay, then shot that
Yeah.
gets removed. Then it's gonna, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you gotta kind of just play with what you're given. That's part of the metagame. You know what I'm saying? As much as you would love to kind of have a community vote ban list or something, maybe. Well, actually, no, that sounds terrible. I take that back.
That's horrible.
Let's not do that. That sounds crazy. But you know what I'm saying? If you could like change the ban list, that sounds great. But we have the rules that we're playing in, and if you want to do well in the rule set that we're playing in, you gotta just abide to those rules. And I understand like complaining about a card, but I think like constant complaining is only gonna be negative. It's not really. It's just at a point it's gonna start to take away from your either fun from the game or like your performance or whatever. So it's like you gotta just kind of if it's really not that fun, then you can take a step away. But if it's just something that it's annoying, then maybe you have to just kind of change how you build your deck or what deck you're playing to make you give you a better matchup. Like if you just hate a certain matchup so much, then just play that deck's worst matchup, and then you'll probably feel a lot better about seeing that card.
I mean, yeah, like, or even like what you said just a minute ago. If you don't like the build a stat meta, there are decks that are not build a stat that are hyper competitive. Armor rush, security control.
Right.
Like, there's two right there, which we can easily say they're tier one or tier 1.5. Like, you can compete with the meta. You can get some tops in there. Like, it is not, end all be all. Those are the type of decks that, people who don't like the build a stat meta or people who want to, have some kind of meta call against it are that's the deck they're using.
Right.
A hyper aggressive deck or a security control type of deck that punishes your opponent for having a certain play style. That like there you go. There's two very good, very cheap options right now. Security control is getting a little out of control, but for the
Security
most part,
control's getting ridiculous with those Magnas. Death X.
right. Yeah, Magnas, and then the Altar Bialstar mons are almost 100 again. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
playing Three Musk, yeah.
yeah. And then Flat Bullets now out and Altar, so people want those. Those are 25s.
That's, don't get me started on those stupid deck boxes.
Oh man, that's a whole different video for that one. Woo
That's
wee.
uh,
But yeah, like I don't know, but it's not going to change come BT10. Like
no.
there's nothing in BT10.
Well, no, not 100%. Crossheart, I wouldn't really consider a big stack deck because of you don't build it in raising. You just kind of on play it, and then you just all the sources go underneath because the digi cross. So I mean, it's like you have a big stack. You have like 5 sources when you go into X5, but you don't build it in raising, which is different than the decks that we have now. But yeah, I mean, there's still. I mean, Jessmon gets new support. That's build and raising. Ragna to a degree is kind of build and raising. Bloom Lord, you have to build and raising to, a little bit. There's a lot of things, but with the Digicross stuff, it changes a little bit. But the Digicross stuff, I just don't know if it's as good as people think. I think Japan just kind of, it was just the new thing of the new set, so they played it. But when it comes to North America, people usually play what wins the most, and I don't think like any of the BT10 decks are gonna be. I feel like BT10 is gonna just be BT9 2.0.
Yeah, like I really have my eye on Minervamon, but Minervamon is also missing its counterpart, which really makes the loop go.
Right.
And you mean, yeah, we can loop it, but it won't be as effective as having what is it? A Murdermon?
Mervamon. I mean, that's kind of
Yeah,
what I was saying at the beginning. Is
yeah,
that BT11 kind of completes a lot of what BT10 has. We get a lot of Crossheart stuff. We get Blue Flare stuff. We get Mervamon.
right. Like BT11, a lot of decks get supercharged, super powerful. You know, the Barga army is up in there, the Live Mons. So yeah, like a lot. BT10 is probably like that side set. That's a main set. You
Yeah,
kind of want to get all your good filler cards from
it feels
BT10.
like BC6 to me because BT6
Yeah,
I feel like had a lot of stuff that got completed in like EX1 slash BT7. You know what I'm saying? Like we had Bond of Friendship, which Bond of Friendship was good in BT6, but it wasn't really Bond of Friendship till we got that EX1 Gabumon and the Ice Wall. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel with like Blue Flare. Like Blue Flare, I feel like is just missing the entirety of its package. I already caught a lot of flack about this because I was on Max DePera's channel and we were talking about Blue Flare, and I say I think Blue Flare is terrible. People think I'm joking. I don't. I think they're joking when they say Blue Flare is good because I don't know what they're. We're not playing the same game, obviously, because it feels like a deck that has no backbone. But when you go into BT11 and you start putting in those cards from like BT11 and you get EX3 stuff, you get the option from EX3 itself is really big, but you get those cards, then it feels a lot better. And then Crossheart feels. I mean, Crossheart feels really good right now. I think Crossheart is the deck that, if it like, outside of maybe Minerva, I don't maybe Jesmon, but for the most part, I think Crossheart has the highest prospects of being the BT10 deck that shines the most. But
yeah.
even then, in BT11, it feels way better. There's a lot of cards in there that like just feel really like make Crossheart feel like a much more cohesive deck. As to where right now it kind of just feels like a lot of four ofs of these key pieces that kind of just solve this small puzzle as quickly as you can. But in BT11, I feel like you have multiple small puzzles that you can play instead of just being like, okay, I'm just X4 and X5 and that's it.
Right. Like first of all, like to my knowledge, a lot of Blue Flare stuff get their abilities on play,
Yeah,
which
yeah. Most of the
like
stuff there is some Wind Digivolving, but it's pretty much all on play. I think it's actually just Decker Greymon that gets the Wind Digivolving.
so that's like what four costs and five costs. Like you're pretty much passing turn every time you play a Digimon.
Well, the Metal Greymon is right now because right now what we have is just the Metal Greymon and the Decker Greymon, and the Metal Greymon if you is for 3 and the other one's for 5, so you can keep with Memory Tamer for the Metal Greymon, but it's I just feel like it's not enough. Like you have 3 memory, you play the Metal Greymon for 3, you stun up to 3 things, which can be nice, but you can only have a maximum of 2 sources. So you can only stun things that have 2 or less sources, which means you can't stun stacks really. So it's okay, but it's not that big of a deal. But then you have your inheritables only activate if your opponent has 2 or more Digimon. So I've been playing a bunch of sets, and it's like I'll be playing against Blue Flare, and I'll just have 1 stack on the board, and they can't stun it because they don't have enough sources. And then when they swing, they can't unsuspend because I only have 1 Digimon. So it's just the deck feels very strong defensively and super super weak offensively, but it's not a control deck. So it's like it's got a weird dynamic. You know what I'm saying? It's like if this was a video game and we were picking a car, it's like this car's got 10 out of 10 control, but like 1 out of 10 acceleration. Doesn't make any sense.
Ooh, yeah. I'm not picking that card.
No, that
Yeah,
card sounds terrible.
yeah. Yeah, like it's missing its boss monster, which, if I'm not mistaken, that is in BT11.
Yeah, there's
Uh,
the you
the
get
Greymon.
Z Greymon, and then you get some. I think you get something else.
Z Greymon, I think like a Mega Greymon launcher or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But
the you get the Metal Greymon launcher mode. I think that's what it's called.
okay, so that pretty much completes the top side of Blue Flare right there.
Yeah,
And then on top of that, you probably get another level 3 or level 4. Then on top of that, Shoutmine. I know Shoutmine gets its
Metal Greymon
Shoutmine.
plus Cyber Launcher is what it's called.
Ah, okay, that's a big name. Yeah, like Shoutmine, you get the Shoutmine Star Sword, which is their level 3, and then you get their at 7. Their Shoutmine DX. Like yeah, a lot of these decks are not going to be complete until BT11.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, yeah, There's even what X3, right? I think there's like 4 different Omni X's.
Yeah, there's an
Um,
X3 in BT11, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, X3. Yeah, it looks like it's red, yellow. So yeah,
Yep.
I don't know. It's just I feel like Crossheart is like if we're gonna go through the BT10 decks right now that I can think of like off the top of my head, like the new Jesmon is I think I think it's worse in this meta than old Jesmon was in that meta, I guess. I don't think it's
Hmm.
necessarily bad, but I feel like BT6 Jesmon just had a much higher dominance. It like kind of controlled the meta at one point. So Jesmon meh, it's still good. Bloom Lord I feel like has a lot of promise, but it is really weak to things like Crimson Blaze, and I also think it will probably just get outclassed by Grandis anyway.
Hmm.
Blue Flare, I think, is just an incomplete deck. I think you can, like, I put like a Bond version on my channel, and I think that makes it a lot better. But I still don't think. I think it's just a deck that needs BT11 to come out. The Dark Nightmon stuff is, I think, just kind of meh. Ragna
Yeah,
feels like a meme almost. I don't know. It's like
like a worse
kind of
Imperial.
good because it can do the whole trashing thing. So when
It
it
feels like a
does
worse
that,
Imperial.
the 1 out of 5 games it does that, it's super fire. But other than that, a lot of the times it feels like a meme. So it's just like BT10 feels like a set where they gave us a lot of cool stuff to work with, but it's like I don't know, you go to the thrift store and you buy a puzzle and you build the puzzle, but there's like 4 pieces missing. And so you're like, oh
Yeah,
well, this was cool, but like my puzzle's not complete, and I feel like that's kind of what we got because BT11. I mean, BT11 just gives us a lot of crazy stuff that are just good in a lot of decks. Like we get new like Greymon X antibody, Metal Greymon X antibody. We're getting the Pangeamon, and we just get all these crazy things like Clavis Angemon. It has like when a card is removed from your security stack, you give -4K DP. Like there's just really good cards for archetypes that are out right now, and it feels like BT11 is literally like BT10 and BT11 feel like 2 sets separate, like 1 set separated into 2 halves.
like 1.0, 1.5.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that because I'm looking now. You got Tyrannomon support in BT11, Edamon support in BT11. Like you got Nightmon, Machinedramon, like Littlefmon, Bhagagon Army. Like it's so good of a set to cap off like a 3 set run. It's
yeah,
almost like it was like, hey, here's BT10, here's where a lot of your core pieces are. EXO3, here's some more stuff, and then here's BT11, cap off everything from the last 3 sets. Go to BT12, it's gonna be something totally different.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think it's a really good. I think it's a good set. BT10. I don't like. I know you don't like BT10 as like a whole set. I wouldn't say that I am like fully there. I definitely lean that way with you. I still think it's an entertaining set. The thing that I don't like about it is that in BT10, I feel like most of the best decks are going to be decks that were established in BT9 or prior.
Yep.
And these are going to be deck, and I mean that in a way where, because I'm going to compare this to what I think of BT11, and it's kind of the same, but there's a difference. So these establish old decks in the way where, like, you're going to play BT9 decks with 1 to 3 card difference going into this format. You know what I'm saying? Like a brand new set, but you're playing the old decks with maybe 1 new card change, or maybe you're teching for something in the meta change. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's how it's going to be. As for BT11, there's a lot of support for stuff that's already out. So what's going to be buffing decks that are both in and out of the meta previously, like Machine German gets a bunch of support. Black War Greymon gets support. Justimon gets support. The Tyranno, like you said, Hercules Kabuterimon, Metal Edamon, the Sukamon line, Ulforce, like
Yeah.
all this stuff is gonna get support. Older sets, and this just feels like a much more impactful. Like it feels more meaningful than BT10 feels like. It's like, I feel like this is what like a starter deck would feel like if it was like a booster set. You know what I'm saying? Where you
Yeah.
kind of get the key pieces, but there's still more to come. I feel like BT10 is like a starter deck is like the starter decks of Digimon booster sets. It's like, feels like BT1 and like through 3 in a way, where like BT1 through 3, I'm not saying they weren't impactful, or like, well, they
Mhm.
were impactful, but they set a lot of bases that were built on over the next few sets. We got some really meaningful stuff in the base that's going to help us later, and I feel like BT10 sets that base for BT11 to be like a really, really, really good set for a lot of decks.
Yeah, so and that's what, and that's goes back to my point to where I think they really should try to push out BT11 to hit the 1st of February to have a really, really exciting nationals, because you're gonna get the same decks that was already established 4 or 5 months ago in nationals. So everybody's gonna be like, "Whoa, there's gonna be an Alpha Mon, or it's gonna be Metal
Right, right,
Garurumon,
right.
or Black War Greymon, Gaiamon." That is like, give them something new, something fresh. Yes, I will say this: Examon, I believe, is a top tier deck right out the gate. I believe that wholeheartedly. Blue green is too powerful of a combination between Imperiumon support and the Examon support. Somebody's gonna make that dragon work. So I
Okay,
think that's gonna
so
be a
I'm gonna let you in on something really quick. Your boy is already in the Examon testing phase.
ooh.
Okay, you already know Examon goes crazy.
Yeah. Oh
Here's the
yeah.
downside. Examon has lost basically every single game versus D-Brigade. EX3 D-Brigade is insane versus Examon, bro. It's like unbeatable. It's crazy.
So Examon cannot take hyper aggressive deck. So it's gonna probably lose
I
to
don't even think
armor.
it's hyper aggressive decks. I think it's the fact that like every time you play something or like kill something versus the new D-Brigade, it like spawns a new one.
Oh jeez. That means we're gonna have to tech for this D Brigade, because this thing is getting crazy.
I mean, we're about to have Examon with Mechanorimon, baby.
Ooh. And that's EXO3, right?
Yeah, it's the EX3. Yeah, because you get the Seals Dramon that has jamming, and then it has the inheritable once per turn when you play a D Brigade, give it rush, and then the new Tank Dramon, when you Digivolve, you reveal the top 3, and you play a Command Dramon, and then the when attacking, I think it like plays a Command Dramon too with the inheritable, and so, dude, I don't know, it's just that D
Oh
Brigade.
no.
I don't know. I have to test more like EX3 stuff. Like we're still in the BT10 kind of testing phase, kind of just dipping into EX3. But I I have to test it for stuff. But what I can say is Examon feels super insane versus all the previous decks. Like if we're playing it versus I've played it versus more BT10, BT9 decks than I have like EX3, because EX3 is a side set, you know what I'm saying? So you can only build so many raw decks from it, but Examon has felt insane. But D-Brigade feels super ridiculous versus Examon. D-Brigade was going crazy.
In Taint Dramon, you don't have to attack. You just have to, as an inheritable, you just play one, reveal the top two, and play a command
Oh yeah,
Dramon.
it's like when a D-Brigade, something in D-Brigade attacks, right?
Oh my god, I'm not ready to. I'm not ready for the deep brigade stuff that you're putting out there, my good sir. I'm not liking it right now.
No, it's really good. What does this say? Inheritable when, yeah, when one of your Digimon D-Brigade in its traits attacks, you reveal top two and play a Tank Dramon. And then the new Dark Dramon, honestly, I don't think is that good.
I didn't like it. I wanted your opinion on it. I didn't like it really.
I'm gonna be honest with the list that I'm at right now. I play one. I actually play. I play three of the old Dark Dramon, one of the new Dark Dramon, and then I'm playing a two Black War Greymon, and
Ooh.
I'm playing four of the EX3 Tank Dramon and two of the old Tank Dramon.
Oh yeah, I really want to try this Imperial Dramon Dragon mode.
Oh yeah, yeah, the red purple. That's on my list. I have that proxied out on my desk right now. I haven't cut it out and sleeved it up yet. I have to sleeve the two. I have two EX3 decks proxied out right now that I've cut that, and then the trial of the four great dragons, because that looks really cool.
Yeah, it does.
Um, but yeah, EX3 is gonna be really cool as well. Like I think EX3 is a set that I'm really excited for because it's a side set, but unlike EX1 and EX2, this gave us like full archetype type stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like we get the um, we get the whole red purple imperial. We get the all the EX3 D Brigade. Hydramon's gonna be really good. We get the Trial of the Great Dragons. We get the Hina stuff. Like, I think this set is the most impactful EX1 set because unlike EX1 and EX2, which I think had like power spike cards, this has just generally it's like a side set that is basically just a small main set.
yeah. I
Like, it
think I'm
feels much
starting.
more main setty.
Right. I think Bandai has a direction for the EX sets now. I think EXO1 was their like, test trial, just give stuff random support. And
Right.
then EXO2 you saw a lot of like fleshed out decks. Like in EXO2 with the Renamon line, the Gilmon line, the Terriermon line. And then now you see the same thing, but now you can see more competitive decks. Examon. Maybe we'll see Imperial Demon be a nice, good road deck. You have D-Brigade getting a total facelift. Hydramon's a thing. The four great dragons. Like,
That's that deck I'm really excited to test.
I want to test Machine Dramon. I mean, Metal Sea Dramon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I want to test Metal Sea Dramon when this set comes out. I have a build for it already.
Wait, the metal
But
suit? Do
yeah,
you mean the? Are you talking about Plesiomon?
actually, I want to go a different route instead of I want to take in the Plesiomon.
Okay. So
I
you're
want to take in
playing
the
like what, the old Metal Siegramon?
um no,
Or what Metal
actually for
Siegramon are you talking about?
my level 6, I'm actually playing a Waymon. Waymon with King Waymons.
Oh yeah, you're always on that Waymon.
It's so it's like it's a good meme deck. It's like but it's just one or two cards away from being like a good rogue deck. So I'm trying to push it into a rogue tier. I'm just like, there's gotta be a way to make this work.
Yeah.
I keep coming back to it. It's a good meme deck. But I'm like, there's one or two cards missing to make this a good rogue deck. Not a top rogue deck, but a good rogue deck.
Yeah.
But I gotta figure that one out. But yeah, like I mean, really, you can say BT10 is kind of a near, and then EXO3 is when a lot of people when the meta will really start shaping up a little differently. That's how I feel.
I mean, I, I think, I think, and like I said this earlier, this is BT10 will be BT9 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
EX3 and BT11 will be new metagames.
I agree. I
So
100% agree. And I don't know when we get this Beelzemon deck, but I don't think that's going to do anything either. I know a lot of people are hype about the Beelzemon deck coming out, but I don't think that's going to make any kind of dent whatsoever unless they totally change it up and give us some crazy new TCG exclusive cards in the deck. I don't
right,
think it's going to do anything.
nah,
It's too RNG.
no, we do need those security rookies, the promos.
We do. Yes, that I agree. Did you get more and more support to security decks still?
I mean, those I think just get played in.
Everything.
Yeah, I don't even think you really play those in like security control or anything. I think those will just be good decks and just like there's like what Huckmon and Dorumon and Pulsemon and it's just they're cards that I think are just good enough. Like we just when are we getting them? Let us know. We need to get them soon. Like, are we getting them at like give us as like EX3 box toppers or something? I don't know. Just give it to us soon.
Knowing Bandai is gonna be like, yeah, here's Tamer Bots 3 or 4.
It's gonna be
They're gonna be in
oh
there.
my god, it's gonna be something
Yeah.
stupid. It's gonna be like one of those events that they had where like you have to like buy 2 boxes from a shop or something, but like most shops didn't even get those cards. Like, you know what I'm talking about? They
Yeah.
had those like Altar Sukaimons and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
I
didn't.
do.
Dude, what shop in Colorado had those? I don't know any.
No, I didn't think any of them did.
Yeah, I don't know any that got them. So it was just like, okay, cool. So I don't
It's
know.
like, well, yeah. It's like, yeah, we're just screwed now. Now we gotta pay high prices on a secondary market because we didn't get any.
Right.
Oh yeah,
All right,
yeah,
my man. It is that time though, where we must
it is.
begin wrapping up. So, do you have any final words? It's been a few weeks since we've been on here. So you got what are we thinking?
Oh man, this meta game actually it seems stabilized. I like it. I do think it's diverse. Some people don't. Most people agree. You can have your opinion. I'm okay with that, no
Right.
matter what.
Right.
But I think nothing's gonna really change net set. I'm not looking forward to it. I probably won't. I'll probably just be picking some stuff up in trades. But for the most part, I'm pretty hyped about EX03. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. That is. I mean, we said it all in the podcast how we feel. So we'll save it all for the next one. And I mean, I'm sure we'll be hopping on here soon whenever we get some more things to talk about. But that is going to be it for us this week. So we'll catch you all next time. Hope you have a good one. Peace.
Yeah.